chowing down. It's raining outside today. Hello everyone and welcome to Condor's Croft. This is my fiber arts podcast and it's been a long time. It's been a year. I had to take some time off. I wasn't knitting or crafting. I was surviving and it took me a long time to get out of that. I had some pretty severe health issues. I landed in the ER. I had several trips to urgent care. It took months and lots of testing and thousands of dollars to finally get answers. And now a year later, because I got sick last December, so December 2024, I am feeling way better. And I'm here because the last few months, but especially recently, have just like a light switch has been flipped on, and I have such a strong desire to create. And I've been pulling out old works in progress. I've been pulling out stash yarn. I just want to do everything. And it's not just like fiber arts, it's everything. I really want to be creative. It's like a fire has been lit, or someone started like a sports car and my engine just wants to go. So I don't know. I really wanted to share some things that I've been working on, and I wanted to say hello to any old friends returning, and let's get into it because I don't have much time. So first of all, I want to talk about, and I will try to talk a little bit about my health issues at the end. For those who might be interested in that, I will share kind of what I went through, what happened, and some of how I'm working on feeling better. So I've got so much to talk about. I have a really old work in progress. I've got new things that I finished. So I want to share some finished projects that I've done recently. And I think I'm gonna start with a sweater. This is dirty because my son loves it and he wears it constantly. And I've got another one back here that I made last year. So I'll just show this one too because I think it's becoming a theme to knit him like a sweater, at least one sweater a year. I'd like to do a little more. This one is hand spun and hand dyed with acid dyes. And I did this one last year. It still fits him, but the sleeves are getting too short. He is the string bean kind of little guy. He's 5 now. So he loves to wear his sweaters. He never wants to take them off. He sleeps in them. So he usually kind of gets upset when I tell him we have to take it off and wash it because he wants to live in his sweaters. So this is the newest one I just finished for his birthday this fall. So he's a pretty recent 5-year-old. And I used some old stash yarn. This pattern I think is Flax DK is what it's called. It's a free pattern. I created a Ravelry project for it if you want to look at that, but this is mill ends from Green Mountain Spinnery. So what does that mean? So I'll show you. I have some cones and I bought these years ago. This is way before my son was born, probably a year or two before he was born. So this yarn is probably 6-7 years old. But I had a bunch of it. And so at Green Mountain Spinnery, they're a mill, and I've been there several times. It's just far enough away that it's too long of a haul to drive there. Just, willy-nilly, like it's more of like plan a trip. So even though I live in Vermont, like it's a small state, but driving through Vermont can take so long to go from one end to the other just because of the mountains and small towns. And my side of the state, we don't have a highway. So anyway, mill ends are little short leftover bits that like on their bobbins from the big machine, I think they just take all of the little leftover bits and then put them on one big cone. So if you knit with this, you're just gonna go along, and then eventually, and there's no telling when it will happen, this little strand will just end. And then you'll pick up another strand and keep going. So these are mill ends, and I got these for dirt cheap. I just ran into, I think her name's Kate. She is one of the people, I think Green Mountain Spinnery is like a cooperative, so it's owned by the people who work there. Anyway, so Kate is usually the one you see at, one of the people you see at the booths when they do like sheep and wool festivals. I got a knot in this, I'm trying to fix. So anyways, I just saw her at the Vermont Sheep and Wool Festival in October, and I mentioned that I was using the mill ends, and I said, I can't remember how much I paid for that. She was probably, and she said, probably less than the price of a taco. Because it was, I'm pretty sure it was, they were dirt cheap. So all of this, and then there's some other colors. There's a darker brown I have probably in, yeah, here in the basket too. So all of this was on cones. And then as I would get to an end, so this strand will end, and then when I get that end, I made a bunch of knots. I would just overlap it a little bit, or I might knit one stitch with the two overlapped, so like the beginning of one end and the end of the other, and knit that together in one stitch, and then later weave in the ends. I still have a ton of this. So I don't actually know what the content of this yarn is. And when I asked them, I remember I asked them years ago, and they were like, sorry. This looks like it is one of their cotton comfort blends. So it's like a wool cotton blend, just because it's got like nubby bits. And this I would assume is just a wool. And so it's a singles yarn. So I can, you know, hold it double or triple or whatever I want to do. I can dye it. In the past, I have dyed this. I think I have some dark green that I over dyed this gray that I used for some punch needle. It's an old whip that I want to bring out, but if I try to show everything today, this video will be too long, and I don't have that much time today. So I'm pretty excited about this little sweater because I've got so much of this mill-in yarn. Knitting this was really a lot of fun. The colors are kind of crazy. It reminds me of just like woodsy and kind of earthy and kind of like mushroom. I don't know, some earthiness. And I asked my son if he wanted me to dye it because blue is his favorite color. So I kind of thought he might like me to dye it blue, but he said no. He said he wants to keep it as is. And I thought I was going to do stripes all the way. And then I was like, I don't want to stripe down the sleeves because it's a little tedious. So all that to say, free pattern, stashed yarn that was, even when I did buy it, was super, super affordable. And I've got a ton more of it. So I can dye up some. I can wind some off into more cakes and then dye some and then do different sweaters and have, this was so quick to knit. The only thing I don't love kind of this boat neck look, but it does fit over his head nicely, which is always important with kids, little kids. So I just like, he wears shirts under it and you can see the shirt under it. And sometimes it doesn't always look as nice, but you know, it's not that important. So I think I would like to make him some more of these, but maybe dye some different colors and maybe even do another pattern. I like this one a lot. It was quick and easy, but just for fun, maybe do a different pattern. So that's my son's sweaters. And then I also have, oh, and the mill ends yarn. Somebody's gonna ask me about it. So this, last I knew, you could only get in person. And when they have it, is kind of like whenever they have it. So I know they have a newsletter if you want to sign up for that, but you probably need to live within driving distance of the mill in order to get mill-in yarned. I could email Kate and ask her how often they do this. But I just happened to be there at the right time years ago, and it was so cheap. I couldn't resist. And I'm glad that I did, because even though it's sat and stashed for so long now, it's really useful. Okay, next up is a newly finished pair of mittens that look quite worn already, because my son has been sledding and snowball fighting, and I can't take my dog out without getting hit with snow right now, so. He's been using these so much already. These are thrummed mittens, and the yarn is really special, and I want to give a shout out to a friend here in just a second, but I'll share the pattern. It's family thrummed mittens. Ignore my printer is struggling right now. Family thrummed mittens by Briggs & Little. It's got several sizes from kids to adults. So I bought this last year. I was going to knit these thrum mittens, and then I don't know if it was because I got sick or what, but everything got put on hold. And I think also the size I was making was a little too small. So I made the next size up for him, and they're a little big, but he'll have some room to grow into it, and he'll be able to wear them next year too. So the main yarn I want to share is this lovely Cordell gift I got from my friend Carrie of My Wool Mitten. And I've reached out to Carrie. She hasn't made any videos in quite a long time, like myself, and it doesn't look like she's doing much on Instagram either, like myself. And I kind of would like some recommendations for social media. I think I heard Ellie of Skandier Knits mention like a year ago or longer, something about Blue Sky. I don't even know. I totally just shut down, and I wasn't looking at anything that was going on. I wasn't following current knitting trends or watching podcasts or any of it. I just really totally shut down. So I don't know what's going on, but I don't like Instagram anymore, and I really don't want to use it. I still have it. I've looked at it as a tool a couple of times to look up some patterns and things. Some sewing. I wanted to get into sewing. I got really excited. So backtrack. If you have any recommendations for newer social media that doesn't suck, let me know. Leave it in the comments. So all that to say, my friend Carrie gifted me this yarn. It was a while ago. And last year, I thought this would be perfect to make thrummed mittens. It's a very heavy, either Aran or bulky. I think it's on the side of bulky. And it's really just a lovely Cordell yarn. So that was the background. And then I just used various colors of wool. So this kind of purpley blue color I dyed. My very first Rhinebeck trip, I bought a Cordell fleece, and I still have a ton of it. It's one of my favorite fleeces. It's so useful. I've made lots of things with it. So that's some of that dyed up, all these kind of bluey purple thrums. And then I've got some white, which is more Cordell, and then the brown is a natural Shetland, and it's a pretty soft Shetland. So on the inside, you can see the thrums, and I just thought this would be perfect for keeping my son's look. I can even put my hand in there. It's quite big, but it's not long enough for me. But these are nice for when he goes sledding in the backyard with my husband, takes him sledding all the time. So he was so sad the snow melted before Christmas, and he was really, really sad about the snow being gone. He kept asking me questions about why is the snow gone. And we were really lucky. We got snow just in time for Christmas. So that was kind of a wish come true for him because he wanted snow for sledding and snow for Christmas. So these are really lovely. I have to weigh this yarn. And I'm laughing because I just got a new kitchen scale to be able to weigh yarn and things, because it was probably over a year ago or two. My son microwaved my old kitchen scale, you know, with batteries in it. And I caught it in the nick of time. I was just going to the bathroom, and all of a sudden I heard the microwave door, and I had one of those oh god moments, and I ran out as quickly as I could, and I think I yelled at him, like, you know, I called his name, and I think he opened it quickly enough that bad things didn't happen. But I got rid of the microwave, got rid of the kitchen scale. It was starting to smoke and smell, like you could smell the plastic. Children. So I finally got a new kitchen scale so I can weigh this and know if I have enough to make another pair. So that's a couple of finished projects. I have a finished Christmas present that I sent to my dad, which I can't show, but I have a picture of it. And it's just some really deep stash fiber blue-faced Leicester that I spun up pretty quickly on my spinning wheel and then knit in a hurry. And it's from, it's a double, oh, here it is. I got notes all over this. I took this, so my printer's ink's really bad right now. The hubby hat is the base of the pattern. I made this for my husband several years ago, and I took the numbers on here and then worked backwards kind of to, this one starts in the middle and it's one hat going this way, and then it picks back up, provisional cast on, and then knits the other way. So what I did is I used kind of like the magic circle or magic loop kind of technique to cast on, and then knit the whole thing in one go. So like one big tube and then decreased. So I made one of those for my dad. He just got it in the mail yesterday. So I still need to talk to him on the phone and see how he likes it. One of the coolest projects I just love so much. I showed this years ago on this podcast, and I'm not sure that you can go back and watch it. I took down a bunch of my old videos. I just decided I wasn't comfortable with all of them anymore, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so just chose to take down some of them. There's a lot of tutorials and things that are left, but some of the old podcasts I just pulled down. So I have had this book since I was probably 16 or 17. I got this when I was in high school. I can't tell you why a high school kid was interested in this, other than that's just me. I've always been this way, okay? So I had this book. I don't think back then I had any means to make this a reality. But many, many years later, in my mid to late 20s, I made a trip to a store called the Door Mill store in New Hampshire. I want to go again. Anyway, but I bought supplies to make my first braided rug. I used this book. I used some YouTube tutorials, and I started a rug. Then, for whatever reason, I put it away and didn't touch it, I think, for 7 years. Recently, I was cleaning out a closet, pulled out the project, and guess what? It's done. So, it's a little dirty because it's a rug and I put it on the floor. It's in my kitchen is where I'm in front of my sink, like a squishy spot, but it's dirty. I vacuumed it. It has dog hair on it. My vacuum probably needs replacing. So, ta-da! I'll try to show you the whole thing. Woo! my kitchen is a perpetual state of disaster, so I don't have beautiful kitchen pictures. And it's hard to show it flat because it wants to bend at the middle, but you get the idea. So I picked it back up, and I think I was really nervous about the last board. The border is called budding, I think, and I was really nervous about that part, and it was challenging. It was time consuming, but I figured it out and I made it work. And it's a beautiful, this last border is one continuous piece that goes around and butts all the other pieces. So you do the weaving and it goes around and around and around. And then at the end, when you're ready, you do like a rat tail and it gets real skinny, and then you kind of hide it in. I'd have to look really hard to find where the rat tail is, but you hide it in to the previous row. And then the last row you do is a butted row. So it's like you do one really big long braid, you wrap it around, and then you take the 3 strands, if you have 3, and then you cross them over and sew them in such a way so that it's invisible and it's one continuous loop. So I figured it out. It was tough. I couldn't find an exact tutorial that I liked. The book has one way of doing it that I didn't love, and then I kind of saw some suggestions online. What I ended up doing was kind of a quilting technique where you miter the pieces, so you sew them like this on the 45, and then when you open it, it's a diagonal kind of 45, and the 2 pieces are continuous, if that makes sense. So that's my braided rug, and I'm gonna put it down now because it's super hairy. It hasn't even been done that long, and it's so dirty already because I have dogs and a kid and a husband. So, and a farm and farm animals and chickens. So, and sheep. I don't know why I described this. I guess I want to show this off. So, some of the online sales, I couldn't resist, okay? And I found this store that had some silk mohair on sale for a good price, because this stuff has gotten really expensive. And in the last few years, like, I don't know if you can find a new project, a new design on, everything has silk mohair. So, which is kind of frustrating. I like it and I don't like it because it makes everything, like, if you want to knit that sweater or cardigan or whatever, and just one yarn, that cost, right? And yarn can be quite expensive. And then you add on top of it silk mohair, and then it's, you know, twice as much. So this is Ariel by Barocco, and it's a beautiful golden color. And I wanted to use this with, I can't see the name of it right now, and I don't really want to open it. Anyway, I don't think they have a lot of colors like this, so there's probably only one by this Ariel in this color. I wanted to use it with some old yarn. Where'd it go? There it is. So this is some Arbor. That's the Brooklyn Tweed Arbor. And this is old Deep Stash. This is DK. I think it's a 3-ply, and it's got beautiful stitch definition. I've tried making 2 different cabled, cardigans, and both just flopped. So the first one was a Joji Locatelli Grandpa Cardi, and I ended up deciding that I really didn't like the collar on that one. Other than that, it's a beautiful design. This one was by the really talented and lovely, I've met her in person. We hung out at the Vermont Sheep and Wolf Festival a couple years ago. We just happened to be walking near each other, and we hung out and chatted for a bit. Amy Christophers, and this is probably one of her lesser known designs. It's also really beautiful, but I just struggled, and this is an old project. I think 2019 2019 maybe is the last time I worked on this. So the cables are beautiful. I love the idea of the finished cardigan, but I did not like knitting it. I did not enjoy knitting the cables. I think they're pretty. I just didn't like knitting them. So I just never wanted to work on it, and it felt like such a slog that's why. So I already ripped out some of this. I'm going to rip out the rest of this, and I think I have 10 skeins of this. So together I've got this color and this color. And my plan is to make my third time's the charm, at a cabled cardigan. It's going to be the, I think, Book Club, I think is what it's called. I have it printed out, but I don't have it with me. So I'll just save that for another time if I can manage to make another podcast soon. I really, really love this color. So this is going to be for myself when I have some time to do some knitting just for me. So I have some finished yarn. I've actually done quite a bit of spinning. So first I want to, now this is done over time. It hasn't been done like, all of it hasn't been done that recently. It's been trickling over the months that I've made this. So this is from one of my sheep. Her name is Freckles, and she's one of my dairy sheep. I made a little quick note to put with it because I needed to use my Lindrum, and I didn't want to forget what I was using on the Lindrum to make this yarn. So I just made a quick note. That's what that card is. But I've got, let's see, 2, 4, 6, and they're different weights. They're not all the exact same. I would just kind of drum card some of her fleece, spin it, drum card some more, spin it. So some of the bats that I carded were thicker had more weight to them than others, but I've just been slowly working on this over time, and I don't have an exact plan in mind. I just thought I wanted to do a heavier weight yarn because I feel like right now it's more likely that I can actually get projects done if they're not super fine fingering weight and lace weight. It's just more practical right now to use heavier weight yarns because I just don't have unlimited time to knit whenever I please. So that's kind of my idea behind making a heavier weight yarn. One of these, this one, I can tell, I left the yarn on the bobbin, like the single ply on the bobbin, too long, and that changed probably the wraps per inch. That changed when I plied it, it just doesn't look the same. So I don't know if you can tell. This one is the one was left on the bobbin, and this one was plied immediately. So this one has more, like a higher twist, and this one's kind of a looser, relaxed. So that's not ideal. I will either hold this aside and make something separate from the rest of it, or I will stripe it so that it hides. We'll see. So at first I thought about making something for my son. Then recently my husband has been wearing a Radari Lopi sweater that I made for him all the time. Actually, he's been suffering like with feeling too cold. I had the same thing happen to me. But his might be different than mine. His reasons might be different. So he's been really just feeling cold all the time. And it's a really awful feeling because that's one of the symptoms that I had. And I was like shivering all the time. So he's wearing his sweater, like he's even sleeping in it. And he mentioned for Christmas that he said, I know it's probably too late, but he would like either a hat or a sweater. And I was like, yeah, it's definitely too late for a sweater. But One of the things I've been looking at for him is the Storm sweater, and I think that's petite knit. I put it in my favorites on Ravelry. So there's a men's Storm sweater that she designed, and I think I will dye it because I think this color is a disaster waiting to happen. It's a beautiful natural color. If I can, I would like to get some cute footage of Freckles is not my sweetest sheep. Her personality is kind of like, you got treats? You don't got treats? I don't want nothing to do with you. So
there's Freckles' face. I miss Freckles. I don't have food. I'm sorry. Oh, hi, Condor. Oh, buddy.
She'll come to me and she handles pretty well, but she's not really into you. Whereas Mochi, my other sheep, is super sweet, loves a cuddle, but her wool is just not quite as nice as Freckles. So Freckles is a little bit longer, just a little bit softer. So I chose to use her wool. Actually, I was shocked because the year before, her wool was really, really bad. Her fleece had a terrible break in the middle, and it was basically not good for much else than felting or mulch. Sorry. So this one shocked me because it didn't have that break. The quality was better. It's even for being a dairy sheep, I think a nice medium soft. So I was very happy. And that just says nutrition matters. How you take care of your animals matters. It impacts their wool and their health and so many things. So that's that. I hope to have some time to do some more bats. I will need more yarn to make the Storm sweater. And it just takes time. I put my drum carder in the basement. I've got the fleece in the basement. And so my husband and my son go down to play music and they kind of jam in the basement, and I can work on drum carding when they do that. So I also have some more spinning, very, very recent spinning. So because I made a hat for my dad, I had to put my husband's Christmas hat on the back burner, and I told him that, and he is understanding, but he is also kind of like, I want my hat. So I started a design just for my husband. He was really picky, and he's not normally picky, but he didn't exactly like my first design. So then I got his opinion, and he helped me kind of pick a slightly similar but different design that he liked better. And I started working on that, and I'm using hand spun. This is from my Ram Condor. And
yeah, who's a good boy? Oh, sheep butt. You want more cuddles? Of course you do. I say, all right, Condor. I love his white face. He's a sweet boy. We got some beautiful dark gray down here. I have so much of his wool. Hey, buddy. One of my favorites. And he's a good boy. When the hormones aren't raging, he's a good boy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Miss Freckles. Hey, Miss Mochi. Their bellies are getting pretty round. They definitely got some lambs in there. Miss Mochi should be first. And then Freckles will be, I think, a couple weeks after. And Rubius. Let's see his wool. Come here, Rubius. Oh, hi, buddy. Yeah. Let's see. It's kind of a mess. It just got rained on. He's got this really light colored wool, but it's actually a super duper pale gray. He's Cat Mugget. And he's got super pale gray. I can't get to it right now. But it looks like a kind of creamy color, but it's really interesting. At the base, he's got some pale gray.
And our very first lamb born here, Arnold. And Arnold, we still have Condor. He's not going anywhere. And Arnold was our favorite sheep. It was my husband's favorite in particular. He was also a giant pain in the rear because he was just like jumping all over the door and just like trying to break my door on the barn. But he was very sweet and he was like a dog, like personality. We had too many sheep and we really had to downsize a while back. I sold Arnold and I sold all of my Shetland ewes. I was just overwhelmed and we had too many sheep and not enough land and it was costing too much money. So they had to go. And the person who bought the rest of my Shetland ewes also took Arnold. And we were sad about it. And then I think we realized how much we missed him and we were even more sad about it. But then we kind of came to terms with the fact that he has a better home there. Where he went to, he kind of does like rehab with struggling teenagers, I think is what I was told. So this Five Sisters Farm is where we sold the ewes, and she took some of the sheep, and there's a place near her that has this sort of program, I think, for teenagers. And so he's part of that program. So it's a really great place to be, especially for a sweet, lovey sheep like he was. And then we had coyotes attack last fall and killed 3 of our wethers. And 2 of them were going to go to a friend to be fellow grazers with their horses. And then one was a really beautiful Shetland sheep with the most beautiful fleece, but his personality was awful. And he was very flighty. And we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with him. All 3 of them died. I was lucky that Condor and my dairy sheep and 1 other wether survived. And after that happened, we felt better about letting Arnold go. And that felt like that was the right decision, because if he had stayed, he might have been one of the ones that died. And I think that would have just broke our hearts because he was such a sweet sheep. So long story short, this is a special wool. This is his lamb's fleece that I hand shorn with like the old school hand shears. A really, really tough job. Shearers are amazing and super strong, and shearing sheep is really back-breaking work. I can't do it. So this his first fleece, he had just a natural perfect jet black. So I have a bit of his lamb's fleece that I just treasure. So I'm using that and some of Condor to knit a design for my husband. And unfortunately, it's gonna have to get frogged because it's too tight. So it's okay for me. It's a little snug on me, but I think it would actually block out to be a really good fit for me. I don't want to mess up. I did try to make my hair look nice. So I started working on the top part of the pattern. This is a folded over brim, and it's a little snug on me, but it's way too tight on my husband. So I think I'm going to rip this out all the way and start over. I do like the gauge on it, so I might keep the needles, and I like the tighter gauge because I feel like that's gonna make a nice warm hat. So I think I might keep the needle size and then just alter the design to have some more stitches, which means I will probably change this, the headband kind of folded brim part. I think I will change that design a bit because the math will not be the same, right? You need, in order to fit, like this is in, I think a 16 repeat. So you need a multiple of 16. If I make this larger and keep the needle size, that means that my cast on will have more stitches, and then I might need to change this, long story short, change the design. But this top part, I have some ideas how to keep it the same. You can't really see enough of it to figure out what's going on there, but it's going to kind of have a ram's horn, traditional ram's horn rose design to it that I tried to make my own. Originally, I completely designed something that was just much more original and totally my own, but my husband wasn't feeling it. So I think I'm gonna save that design for me and knit this one that he picked out for him. So I am excited about it. I'm just sad because I worked so hard to get to this point just to have to rip it out, but it's okay. It is okay. Oh my goodness, I have so much more I could share. Back in October,